any kind of procedure, okay? And we're talking about SmartSuite Library. Now, SmartSuite Library is an online real-time processing system. What that means is that anybody can log in as long as they have a URL to the system, and as long as they're signed in, they can get in and they can do whatever. So if you're in a massive big library like the Library of Science in Malaysia, which has over 500,000 students on there, and you've got 20 library staff, you can all have every one of those library staff all logged in, all at the same time, all doing cataloging. If you're anything like their RFID circulation, you can have 60 circulation terminals all running all at the same time. So whether you're a big organization like that, or you're just the Aboriginal Inland Mission that has 25 kids and one Mother Superior running the whole show, exactly the same. Okay, so size is immaterial, and the number of staff and the number of records and the number of activities is all immaterial. There is no end of period processing like end of day, end of week, end of month, and end of function that you then have to go and click this button and that. Everything is online and it's real. Okay, now the thing is, why don't we have an end of day or like a backup? That's because you're in the smart functional solutions smart cloud. And in the smart cloud, you're running in functional solutions own data center. And we have massive amount of computing power. And what we've done is we've set up a whole batch of servers to automatically do your backup and constantly back up right throughout the day, through the week, through the month, through the year. So backups are constantly happening. And that is why we always say, if you did something, ring us up and tell us, like you've gone and deleted 5 records or whatever, and we can restore it because we have a lot of backups going constantly all the time. So there is no end of day, end of week, end of month, especially end of year. Okay. However, because it's October and we've come to the end of the year, what happens in the new year? All right, so let me explain. Let me go into the system and let me go into the Patron, because end of year literally only affects the Patron record. It does not affect the catalog. It does not affect circulation. It does not affect anything else other than the Patron record. Okay, so the borrowing parameters is the #1 thing to consider in regards to your end of year process. Okay, if you want to do it. So see, I've got class grade 12. So Michael Fernandez is in year 12. Now let's say, for argument's sake, I don't do any end of year function, but I now add a whole new group of year 12s. Well, what will happen is Michael Fernandez will be intermingled with the new groups, even though he's not at school anymore. And he might be on the system because you didn't delete all your year 12s, because you can go ahead and say, year 12s are gone, let's delete them. I don't recommend you do that, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay? But if you happen to leave him there because he's got overdues, or your policy is to never delete a patron, then all the year 11s that were there in year 11 last year will automatically get rolled into the year 12. So now your year 12 class, which normally had 40 students, now would have a potential 80 students because they're all in one together. So you might want to consider changing the class grade. Instead of year 12, you might want to create a brand new class grade, and you can have as many class grades as you like. So you might want to go into the authority file. Okay, now remember, to get to the authority file, you click on menu, you go down to configuration, you go down to the authority editor, and in the authority editor you look for class grade, and you just create a new class grade in there called something like this, left 2018. So it'll be left 2020. That's all. And that means that when you now import your new year 12s, there will be no year 12s in there. You just do it on the system, okay, and that will move them across. Now you can move all your year 12s into there. However, what you might want to do is, instead of making sure that all your year 10s go to your year 11s, or we'll start at the 11, always start at the highest. You take your year 12s and roll them over to your year 11s. Sorry, you take your year 12s, you roll them into left in 2020. You take your 11s, move them to year 12s. You take your 10s, move them to year 11s. You take your 9s, move them to year 10. Now, that process might seem big, but it'll probably take you all of about half an hour to do all of that. However, why don't you just do this? Click here, go down to Patron, and go down to Smart Patron Import. Okay? And when you go into Smart Patron Import, it will allow you to import all your students, not the new ones, not the ones that have changed, all the students that are on the admin system. It will allow you to import it in here. You can watch that tutorial. You can go to YouTube and go SmartSuite space Patron Import and have a look at the Patron Import documentation, or you can even click help and get help about importing the patrons in here. Now, if you're going to do a patron import, what you want to do is make sure before you do that, that you just ring our office and say, I'm going to do a patron import. I might stuff it up. So can you please make sure you take a backup and freeze it until I tell you I don't need that backup anymore. And that way I can revert to it if I need to. And then do a patron import. And what will happen is all your patrons in this system here, okay, will automatically get updated with the patron data from the admin system. And that's all you need to do. It'll automatically come in here. So if, let's have a look. If Michael Fernandez had an email, he'll get it. If his barcode changed or admin number changed, he'll get it. If his parents remarried and changed his name, he'll get it. If he's changed his homeroom, he'll get it. If he changed his year level, he'll get it, even though he was an existing student. You don't have to worry about anything. So make sure that you do a patron import, and that's all you have to do. There is no other end of year procedure. However, a common issue we have that when you come back on the first day of school, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go into circulation. And in circulation, you're going to call up a student, any kind of student. And what you'll do is you'll type in M-I-K-E, Mike, and you'll say, here are all the mics, which one? And you'll click this one. When you click that mic, okay, it'll say, oh, he's expired. Or he said he's, it's past the borrowing date. Or, it'll give you these reports. When you get a circulation warning saying expired, okay, you can and you can still override and still continue to circulate even though he's an expired patron, and you can fix the information later. So I'm going to show you how to fix all your borrowing parameters at the start of the year or end of the year. You can do it whenever you want. But if you ever get that error message, it's an expired patron, or he's not allowed to borrow anymore, the first thing you should remember is menu. You go down to configuration and authority file editor. And when you bring up the authority file editor, what will happen is it'll be alphabetical. So it'll have audience. You click that and you got class grade. That's the only thing that you fiddle with for end of year, start of year, middle of the year, changing borrowing parameters. Anything to do with borrowing parameters, any error with borrowing parameters, 99.9% of the time, it's because of this particular authority file. And when you click in here, there's all your authority level, your class grades, every one of them. And you have to do this for every one of them just to check it. You click on that pencil for year 7s and it'll say, well, their final borrowing date is 20. And you go, yeah, but it's 21. Just change it. If the expiry date is okay, just leave it alone. All the other parameters are okay, leave it alone. Just change that and just go save. And you exit out, and then you do the next year level and the next year level, and that's all it is to it. It literally is as simple as that. So you don't have to roll over anything. You don't have to worry about archiving stuff and all that sort of information. You don't want to do it. Now, let me deal with deleting the patrons. If you delete the patron, and let's say for argument's sake, it was a year 12 group, and you've got 60 kids that have been borrowing books and watching videos and participating in lessons, and they've gone. So let's just get rid of them. And my reaction is put them into a left in 2020, because there is a heck of a lot of intelligence about who borrowed what did they read, why did they read it, how long did they keep it, was overdues a lot, was the library active, did they participate in lessons. If a parent comes back 2 months, 6 months, 2 years later and wants that borrowing information, or wants information about their student, or even the police or the university comes back to you and say, look, we've got a Michael Fernandez here and he's applying to do a medical degree, and he said that he really was a studious student, and would we please, make an allowance for him. We'd like to know everything about Michael Fernandez. So the first thing they're going to do is come to you and say, can you tell us what he was like? Tell us what sort of material. Was he an avid reader? What kind of books did he read? Was he a conscientious reader? Did he just lose material? Did he watch digital content? What kind? So we can give you all that information because it's still there. Okay. It's just not, it will not come up when you try to borrow, because if you try to borrow to Michael, who left last year, the year before, they'll just say, this guy is long gone. But we keep it for the statistics and for the reporting. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present no end of day, end of week, end of month kind of functionality in SmartSuite Live.